Alright, let's dive into this fight between Callum Walsh and Tyler Denny because, honestly, it's one of those bouts that's way more fascinating than it looks on paper. Here's the thing, Walsh comes in as the unbeaten prospect, Denny's the seasoned veteran, and on the surface, it's a classic young lion versus old guard narrative. But what makes this really interesting is how messy and unpredictable it got. This wasn't just a win for Walsh, it was a masterclass in surviving adversity, and personally, I think that's where the real story lies. First off, let's talk about that knockdown in the first round. Walsh gets caught awkwardly, takes a shot, and goes down. Now, here's where it gets intriguing. Instead of panicking, he resets and comes back with a vengeance in the second round. That left cross he lands on Denny? Pure poetry in motion. It's not just about the punch itself, it's the mental resilience to bounce back from a setback. What many people don't realize is that moments like these define a fighter's character more than their highlight reel knockouts. Walsh could have crumbled under the pressure, but he didn't. That's the mark of a contender, in my opinion. Now, Denny deserves a ton of credit here. The guy's a former European champion, and he showed why. Even after getting dropped, he kept coming forward, throwing wild shots, and making Walsh work for every second of those rounds. One thing that immediately stands out is how Denny's experience forced Walsh to adapt. By the fourth round, Walsh is backing up, picking his shots, and relying on his southpaw stance to keep Denny at bay. It's a tactical shift that's easy to overlook, but it's crucial. If you take a step back and think about it, this fight became a battle of attrition, not just physically, but mentally. And then there's the cut over Walsh's eye. That's a game changer, right? Blood's flowing, vision's impaired, and Denny's leaning in, trying to turn it into a brawl. What this really suggests is that Walsh had to fight through not just his opponent, but his own limitations. He even mentions post-fight that he thinks Denny broke his orbital bone. That's insane. Yet, he still finds a way to land that uppercut in the 10th round and finish strong. From my perspective, this isn't just a win, it's a statement about his toughness and ability to problem-solve under pressure. But here's the bigger question, what does this fight mean for Walsh's future? He admits he's critical of his performance, which I find fascinating. It shows he's not just riding the wave of being unbeaten, he's hungry to improve. In a sport where prospects often get overhyped, that kind of self-awareness is rare. Personally, I think this fight exposed some vulnerabilities in Walsh's game, but it also showcased his potential to grow. If he can tighten up his defense and handle pressure better, he's a serious threat in the middleweight division. Lastly, let's not forget the broader context. This fight happened in Dublin, with a buzzing crowd and a card that included other big names like Aaron McKenna. It's part of a bigger trend in boxing right now, the rise of European prospects and the resurgence of middleweight as a competitive division. What this really suggests is that Walsh isn't just fighting for himself, he's part of a movement. And that, to me, is what makes this sport so compelling. So, here's my closing thought, this fight wasn't pretty, but it was real. Walsh didn't just beat Denny, he battled through his own flaws, his opponent's experience, and physical adversity. That's the kind of story that sticks with you. And if you ask me, it's a reminder that in boxing, the most important victories aren't always the cleanest ones. They're the ones that test you, break you, and ultimately, make you better. What do you think? Is Walsh the real deal, or does he still have work to do? Let me know in the comments below.